This is Buying Miami, Life, Love, and Real Estate, and I am your host, JoAnne Jones. I'm a second-generation Miamian, and I am obsessed with real estate, and also living your best life here in the best city, Miami. All right, so we're back for another episode of Buying Miami, Life, Love, and Real Estate, and we have Robert Reffkin, the CEO of Compass. Super excited to have you on the show today. It took some shuffling to get him, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal to have you. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share with us what is going on in real estate. And, you know, I'm sure people ask, it's a joke at this point, but people ask us all the time, how's the market? How's the market? And it's I had Dominique Duque on the show a couple weeks ago because, as you know, there's a macro market and there's a micro market. And so it kind of depends. Like, are you talking condos in Miami Beach? Or are you talking single family homes in Pinecrest? But with you, I was really excited to have you on the show because I don't know, you may or may not realize it, but you kind of have become the voice of America's real estate. Like, people all over the country go to you. It's true, Robert, you know, you're always on TV and they're like asking you about real estate trends and real estate this and real estate that. And you're kind of slowly, kind of quietly, you know, the go-to guy when it comes to what's happening in real estate. And I think that one of the, you're on the front line, but you travel so much. We were just talking before we started that you travel like 4 days a week and you're in markets all over the country. And I don't know many people who are crisscrossing the country 4 days a week, going to different markets and really seeing and feeling the pulse of what's happening. So, I mean, I could speak to what's happening in real estate, you know, on the front lines of Miami, but what do you see on a national level? I mean, the interest rates are higher than they've ever been. Should they buy? Should they sell? Should they this? Should they that? And you have a really unique perspective because you get it from markets that are on fire and markets that are not on fire at all. So give us your collective knowledge.
Well, I think there are more buyers than sellers. Buyers have accepted 7% mortgage rates as the new normal. The evidence of that is prices of homes increased every month this year.
Wow.
If there weren't more buyers than sellers, prices wouldn't have increased. And so it's a good time to be a seller. We noticed, though, the challenge is that there's just not enough inventory. And that's because 30% of homeowners are locked into 3% mortgage rates or below. And 70% of homeowners are locked into 4% mortgage rates or below. And if you have a 3% mortgage rate, you consider that a financial asset and you do not want to lose it. So some people that have to buy homes because, of course, people get married, they have kids, they have a new job. You don't wish this on anyone, but there are deaths and divorces. When that happens, we're seeing sellers buy a home and instead of selling their existing home, renting it out and getting market rents and the arbitrage between that and their low mortgage rate. We are also noticing that there's more all cash offers than historically. Historically, it's usually around 25%. Right now, it's approximately 40%. In New York, Manhattan, 60% of home purchases were all cash.
Wow. You wonder where are they getting this money? Like out of the woodworks.
I know.
Well, and then how, as the CEO of Compass, how are you navigating the agents through this tumultuous time? And then there's a two-part question because we have so much technology. Why do you think in this market buyers and sellers need an agent when there's so much, there's more things that they can do on their own these days than ever before? So how do you think the agent's position in the buying and selling has changed as you know, in the last 5 years?
Yeah, look, let's do an agent for a seller and an agent for a buyer. For a seller, agents, technology can replace a transaction. Think about stock brokerage. I want to buy a stock, replace a transaction, but it can't replace advice. It can't replace a process. And selling a home isn't a transaction. No. It is, you're running a process. In investment banking, you have investment bankers who run a process of helping CEOs sell companies. And they have to create a pitch book to meet the CEO to get the business.
Yeah.
Then they have to create an offering memorandum. They have to coordinate with the lawyers and the debt bankers as well as the equity bankers. And they run a process of sharing information and then getting to close. Same thing here for real estate. You have to meet the seller. The seller should choose who they trust and like the most and would have the most comfortable relationship with, because it's going to be a multi-month process. Mm-hmm. And you share things like Compass Concierge, where you front load the cost of staging to help prepare homes and make them move-in ready, because people want homes that they can just move into and drop their bags. And those homes tend to sell for more money in less time. Mm-hmm. That's an example of advice and real service, real value add. Then you have to take the best photos, not okay photos, the best photos that will get the most traffic. Then you have to market the property in the best way, not the okay way, through digital newsletters, through social, through your own sphere of influence to potential buyers, but also agents that that have buyers. The buyers more often come through an agent than through the internet. Mm-hmm. And so really you're choosing an agent who has the best relationship with other agents and says, hey, will you come and see the property? And please bring your buyers, that people trust them. Then there's negotiation. I actually believe if an agent did nothing but negotiate alone, they would pay for their commission. Here's the way to describe it. Let's say I'm talking to some CEO or finance person and say, are you really good at hiring people? Of course I am. I'm great at hiring people. I said, do you think you can hire someone for 3% less than someone who's not in the professional business of hiring people all the time? Like, of course I could. And so that's what an agent is. Agents are professional negotiators as well. Do you think they can negotiate 3% better than someone who's never negotiated on a home sale before? Right? So just that single thing alone pays for the commission, in my view. But then, of course, there's knowing all the service providers, like the best loan officer, the best title officer, the best escrow officer on your market. And so that's why, again, technology can replace a transaction. It cannot replace a process, much less a multi-party transaction. And it can empower that. And so that's why, as you, of course, know, at Compass, we've built and are continuing to build a platform that ultimately can empower all the stakeholders that are required to make a transaction happen, to collaborate on one place to do so.
Yeah, I don't think that people of the world really understand the back end of Compass, but it's the reason why I'm going on 7 or 8 years. I was one of the founding agents of the Miami Beach office back in the day, man. Remember those days?
Yeah, we were young. Right?
We were young, but we've come so far, and I mean, it just keeps on getting better and better.
I didn't have glasses back then.
Let me tell you, I didn't have glasses either. I didn't have glasses either, but
I got a couple gray hairs.
And you have more kids. I think you have 3 kids. I don't think that you had kids.
Back then I had 1 kid.
I had 1 kid. Barely. Like you barely had 1 kid.
Barely, a baby.
Yeah, you had a baby.
I didn't have a kid, I had a baby, yeah.
Yeah, you had a baby. Now they're all mini realtors.
Exactly. I bring them every Sunday to an open house to support our agents.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think that one of the most unique things about Compass, and in fact, I'm going to have dinner this evening with a childhood friend of mine. This is a perfect scenario for this. You'll love it. These are the stories that you live for in bringing the products to agents and empowering us. But his parents are elderly. The stepfather has to go into a nursing home. It's a beautiful townhouse on the water with a dock in Fort Lauderdale. Tri-level, hasn't been touched in like 15 years. They've been living their best life. Now they're ready to transition into an assisted living facility. And I've been telling my friend, who I've known since I'm 14 years old, man, you gotta get your parents out. You gotta let us clean up the house, get it market ready, and we need to get top dollar for this. And your mother, she doesn't need to deal with any of this. She doesn't need to deal with movers or painters or contractors or any of this. Like, as a Compass agent, I could oversee all of this through Compass Concierge. We could front them the money, get more for the house, make it seamless for your mother, and like get top dollar. And he's like, what? You guys can do that? And I'm like, yeah, we could do that. He goes, okay, have dinner. Let's have dinner tonight. He got really excited. He goes, let's have dinner tonight. I go, yeah, your mom doesn't need to worry. All you got to tell her is go pick out your favorite things, pick out your best things, pick out all the things that you want to take with you to the new house, and leave the keys on the counter, and we'll take care of everything. And in a few months, we're going to make a deposit into your account with the proceeds from your house. And he's like, you guys can do that? And I go, yeah, we can. And that's because we have Compass Concierge. And I'm excited to do it for a friend who really needs it. And that's exactly what it was made for. So, yeah, I'm a believer.
I love that.
Yeah. So overall, though, it's interesting. I hear you say this a lot. Like, you said this the other day, and I carry it. It says, you date the rate and you marry the price, right? So let's go down that rabbit hole, because people are having to kind of understand, and they're becoming more comfortable with this 7% interest rate. And I think, can you explain that? Why? I understand why you say it, but for our listeners, what exactly does that mean? Date the rate and marry the price. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So over time, when rates go down, prices tend to go up. It's rare that prices have gone up as rates gone up. The reason why that's happening is because so many homeowners are locked into low mortgage rates that it's restricting inventory from coming back to the market. But when rates come down, it is likely that prices it will go up. But also you'll have the chance to refinance as well. Mm-hmm. And so this is a great time. Let's just say you believe in 2 years, mortgage rates won't be 7, they'll be 5. And if they're 5, let's say you believe that prices will be 20% more than they are today. That means you should buy now at 7%. You can get a 3 or 4 year, 5 year ARM. And then you can refinance in 2 years at 5%. And then also the mortgage, the price of the home, if under that assumption, would go up as well. Yeah, and so that's really what it means to, you're marrying the price you can't change. No. It's going to be, you're locked in there. But a mortgage rate, you can refinance and get a lower one if you believe the mortgage will go lower over time.
Sure. Yeah. And the way that we're seeing, I mean, you said it yourself at the beginning of the show that prices are going up and up. Every month they're going up. So yes, I tell people just buy now, especially renters that are like looking to get into stop paying rent and just buy something. And I mean, I'm in Miami and people are always waiting for the market. I'm like, the market is not going to get better. it's not, the prices aren't going down.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I agree. I mean, this is an environment right now which, the economy isn't like great, right? There's a lot of tension in the economy and stress, with financial markets, and there will be a time when the economy is great, mm-hmm. and that when it's really great, that's when prices also going to go up, right? Yeah. So this is people, it's less likely that you're going to regret buying at a time when there are headlines every week about how challenging different parts of the economy are.
Yeah.
What Warren Buffett says is he's fearful when people are greedy, and he's greedy when people are fearful. And that's the time when people are fearful, that's when you want to purchase assets.
Yeah. And I realize a lot of people, we as agents, we all have those buyers or those sellers that are waiting for the market. And I realize they're not so much waiting for the market. There's other things going on within them that they're just not ready to buy or sell. But it has nothing to do with market, because people don't buy or sell necessarily because of the market per se. You know this. So they buy or sell because of life circumstances. And they enter the market exactly. wherever the market is at that time. So
exactly.
Yeah. And so I think at this point, it's just, surround yourself with good people, a good agent who could connect you with other professionals to walk you through this whole process. And that's what Compass does. One thing I like about Compass is that we have we hire good agents, seasoned agents, professional agents, not agents that necessarily, are just getting into the market. Unless they're a junior agent, they come on a team. But for the most part, you're getting someone who knows what they're doing with Compass. So switching gears a little bit. So being that you crisscross all over the country, if you're someone who is and being what you've seen, what would you say is the most interesting city or place that you've been to that kind of shocked you? Like when you got there, you were like, wow, this place is really cool. And wow, who knew? And I didn't know that. You were like pleasantly surprised. Do you have any of those cities?
It's a great question. I mean, there's so many parts of the country that, I love the complexity and diversity and difference of opinion and perspective of so much of this country. I'll tell you, I think Miami is the happiest and you can tell because when you go and meet there, everyone's like smiling and it's really, really happy. I think DC is just so dynamic in terms of so thoughtful about the world around us. And it's the average person, like you're in a taxi and they're listening to politics on the radio. I think Dallas is like really, they say it like it is, like the very transparent, like this is how I feel, this is what I want, I'm here to grow my business, like very, very direct. And I like that a lot. Also really big. I remember I saw a home and there's like a really big fireplace, like as tall as me. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, they say everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, no, it really was. And then they get horns on top. I was like, whoa,
wow.
Look at this. And then San Diego, I think, is also a really happy place. Not as like visibly expressive as Miami, but I think very happy quality of life. The Santa Barbara, Montecito is magical. I mean, it's a magical place. Yeah, Austin is cool, but like I'm not that cool. So, and Nashville also is cool, but it makes me feel like I'm not cool because it's so cool. But obviously, it's really special. Of course, I love New York for all the different reasons. Look, LA is, LA it really reflects the diversity of our country, particularly include Orange County.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many different pockets, and I find that fascinating. Marin in the Bay Area is beautiful. Seattle, all those trees is kind of remarkable. Where else? Aspen's Aspen. All the Colorado stuff's not even fair.
Yeah.
I actually think
it's not even fair.
Yeah, it's not even fair. I think Colorado may have the most of the places I've been, the most beautiful topography. You take Aspen, and then you have Telluride, you have Vail, you have Boulder. Look, it's so beautiful. And Boulder's special. I think it has we have the most days of sun or no rain. One of those sentences. Okay. But also they have the most ex-Olympians because of the altitude. The altitude, exactly. And so it's like a great place to train. And so people are really healthy there. And it reminds me, I'm from Berkeley, California, kind of like hippie-ish and laid back. And Boulder has that kind of energy a little. It's different, but that kind of energy a little bit. And I love this country.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm so blessed and grateful for you to take the time for my little podcast. I really appreciate it. And also, I just really appreciate all that you do for Compass. You are our fearless leader. You work tirelessly. You're always coming up. You and your team are just coming up with new and innovative ways to make our life and our job easier. And moving to Compass 7 years ago, when Beth started talking about this, Beth Butler was the woman who started Compass Florida. She started talking about this little company, and I was a follower of Beth, so really whatever Beth did, I was like, okay, and I had no idea what I was getting into, and it's been in a life of a lot of bad decisions. Moving to Compass was the best decision I've ever made. So thank you so much for being our leader and doing what you do.
Well, JoAnne, thank you, and thank you for being passionate. Thank you for believing in yourself and this company enough to make the move when we were nothing, when we didn't exist, and being one of the founding leaders for us in Miami. You came when there were just a few hundred people at Compass. Now there are over 30,000. And so it's been a real privilege to work with you, to work for you, and seeing you have your own podcast, seeing you write your own book about Miami is so wonderful. For anyone who's thinking about purchasing a home in Miami, you got to first purchase this book.
It's a good book.
And I'm just very thankful to have you as a leader in this company that we're building together.
Thank you. And look, one last thing. It's a little known fact. You don't know this about me, but there was like 2 straight weeks that I worked out with you in my ear, listening to your book for like 2 weeks in the gym. Robert put out a book, was it last year?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And it's a really, really good book. I'm so embarrassed to say that the name escaped me, but can you tell us the name of your book?
Yeah, it's called No One Succeeds Alone.
And I got it from my little brother who's like in his early 20s. If anybody is out there and you want to know a little bit more about Robert and how he got to be where he is, I would highly suggest that book, No One Succeeds Alone. And it's one of the best books that I've read in a long, long time. So, I listened to in the gym for 2 weeks straight because I couldn't put it down. It was really good. So, little plug for you too. Thank you. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of Buying Miami. Robert, thank you so much for being with me. You go on and have a great day, a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.